Let me explain a simple and practical strategy that can instantly boost your communication skills and save you a lot of time and effort, especially in the workplace. And it's so simple that anyone can do it. Communicating effectively is challenging for basically everybody, especially when working with colleagues whose personalities and work styles don't align with yours. That's why knowing a little about the psychology of different personality traits can make a big difference when managing projects, tasks, and people. One of the best books on the subject is Surrounded by Idiots by Thomas Erikson. Erikson breaks down different personality types and shows how understanding these can help you communicate effectively with anyone, no matter how challenging they might seem. Let's start with part one. It's not what you say, but how they hear it. Imagine you're giving a marketing presentation to three people. You might think they'll all take away the same message, but based on their confused looks and questions afterward, you realize they didn't interpret most of what you said the way you intended. We've all had moments where it feels like no one is listening, and we might even think, they must be idiots. But as Erikson explains, they're not idiots. They're just not you. Everything you say to someone is filtered through their personal experiences, values, and biases. This is one of the biggest challenges of communication. You can't control how the listener interprets your words. As a result, it's common for your message to be misunderstood or disrupted. The author explains this using a radio metaphor. Even if you send a clear signal, if the receiver is on a different frequency, the message can come out scrambled. The main idea is that communication isn't one size fits all. People think, feel, and act differently. Instead of trying to force someone to pay attention, focus on adapting your message to their communication style. By doing that, there is a much better chance that the message will be received effectively. To do this, you first need to identify their personality type and understand how they interpret your words. This brings us to part two, the 4 personality types. The good news is that Erikson simplifies this for us by classifying people into 4 primary personality types, identified using a simple color system: red, yellow, blue, and green. Let's start with the red type, the dominant ones. Reds are ambitious, competitive, and natural leaders. They constantly push themselves to achieve more and rarely give up, believing that hard work can accomplish anything. They often strive for power and prefer managerial roles. Reds are direct and outspoken. They say exactly what they think without much filtering. This can sometimes make them seem aggressive or insensitive. Reds prioritize speed and efficiency. They are eager to make quick decisions to keep things moving. Next is the yellow type, the social butterflies. Yellows are optimistic and cheerful. They are great at motivating others and creating a positive atmosphere in any situation. Yellows are creative and curious. They have a natural talent for spotting solutions others might miss. Yellows prioritize building personal connections. They thrive in group settings, love to talk, and often become the life of the party. Next is the blue type, the analytical ones. Blues are detail-oriented, organized, and systematic. They like to analyze everything and get to the bottom of things. Whatever they do, they follow a system or process they've thought through countless times beforehand. Blues are usually introverted. They appear quiet on the outside, preferring to observe and take note of everything being said. They enjoy working alone and focusing fully without interruptions. Blues prioritize accuracy and quality. They strive for perfection and take their time to carefully check information before making decisions or completing tasks. Finally, the green type, the steady ones. Greens are supportive, calm, and patient. They're great listeners who focus more on others than themselves. Greens strive to maintain good relationships with everyone, even helping those they don't like. Greens are reliable and strong team players. They put the team's needs above their own, and you can always count on them to keep their word. Greens prioritize peace, stability, and security. They prefer calm environments, predictable tasks, and tend to avoid risks. Here's a real-life example to understand the colors better. Imagine you and your colleagues are deciding what to order for lunch. A red will jump in and say, "Let's just pick the first option on Grubhub." They want a quick decision and don't mind taking risks. Their motto is, "Let's do it now." Your enthusiastic yellow friend might say, "Anna told me about this new pizza place. Want to try it?" They care about what's popular and social. Their motto is, "Let's do it together." A blue will say, "That pizza place has a 4.9 star rating out of 5. They rely on facts, details, and careful research. Their motto is, "Let's do it right." Finally, the green will say, "I'm good with whatever you all decide." They aim to keep everyone happy and avoid conflict. Their motto is, "Let's do it with care." It's important to note that people are far too complex to fit neatly into 4 color categories. Research shows that most of us are a mix of 2 or more colors. Typically, we have one dominant color that feels natural and effortless, and a secondary color that's more flexible. The secondary color tends to show up depending on the situation or the people around us. All right, now that you know the four personality types, you can probably think of someone you know for each color. But recognizing the types is only half the battle. The real skill is learning how to communicate effectively with each one. This brings us to part 3, putting it into practice. Let's start with how to deal with a red. In a red's world, everything is urgent. They value speed, so whatever you do, keep it quick. If you can finish a meeting or task in half the time, do it. To get a red's full attention, skip the small talk and get straight to the point. They're not there to chat or make friends. They're focused on business. So be direct and stick to the topic. Figure out the main point of your message and start with that. For example, if you're presenting the marketing strategy, start with the bottom line. That's what a red is really waiting to hear. Once you've shared that, you can go into the details. If your boss is a red, they'll expect hard work. Show your effort by reporting back regularly and briefly sharing your results. Next, let's talk about how to deal with a yellow. The key is to keep them happy by creating a warm and friendly atmosphere. Smile often, have fun, and show enthusiasm. Be approachable and social. Start with some small talk before getting down to business. Yellows are the worst listeners, so keep things simple. Skip unnecessary details and focus on the big picture. Use stories and visuals to make your points clear. Help them stay focused by creating a simple list. Check if they've understood by having them repeat what you agreed on. If it's important, be ready to follow up. Chances are they missed some of the details. Yellows are optimistic about time, so it's important to plan carefully with them. If a meeting starts at 7 p.m., tell a yellow it's at 6:30. If a task is due Wednesday, set the deadline for Tuesday. Next, let's talk about how to deal with a blue. When communicating with a blue, focus on providing clear, precise facts. They prefer exact answers over vague ones. For example, if they ask about a price, don't say about $5. Instead, say $4.75. Blues feel secure when they have all the information they need, so prepare thoroughly. They care about the quality of your work, not your humor, connections, or social gestures. Even when you think you're ready, double-check everything. They may ask for extra details, so be ready to provide them. The clearer and more factual you are, the more confident and at ease they'll feel. Blues can be slow because they focus on every detail. Don't pressure them or jump to conclusions. Instead, gently encourage them to prioritize speed when necessary. Explain why meeting the deadline is important and how much time is left. Lastly, let's talk about how to deal with a green. Greens tend to worry about everything that might go wrong, so be ready to listen to their concerns. Avoid saying things like, "There's nothing to worry about." Instead, show empathy and understanding. Greens value stability and predictability. They need to know what's happening, when, and what to expect. Avoid sudden changes and let them know in advance if something will affect them and how. For example, instead of just saying we have a client meeting tomorrow, say, "We're meeting with the Johnson account team to review their project timeline." Lastly, greens feel better when they don't have to be active all the time, so allow them periods of peace and quiet to recharge. Give them time to process information and make decisions, and take the lead when action is needed to get things done.